Welcome to Two Guys and Make a Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Thompson, and the illustrious
Jeremy Connors.
And we also have a couple of guests with us today, Mr. Phil Barrett and Mike and his wife,
April.
We're going to talk about the disaster in the Carolinas, Georgia, and southern states.
Yeah. So welcome, guys. You know, we know this is tough on you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the communities in which you all come from.
I'm originally from Candler, North Carolina, so it's a little bit outside of Asheville. Grew up there my whole life. Joined the Air Force. Met Mike. Got out of the Air Force.
Thank you for both of your service, by the way.
Thank you. Been traveling around since. Had Mason, and now we're ready to retire.
So close. So, Mike Sharps. I kind of grew up all over, Air Force brat. So traveled everywhere. Ended up joining the Army as a medic out of actually Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
So we know that's going to get hit here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cat 5 they're saying now.
Yeah, and traveled all over. Had a great time in Germany where I met April. Then we traveled to Kansas, Hawaii, Kentucky, Ohio, and now here. So I'm actually a medical officer recruiter for the Army. Okay. And right now I have just about 3 years left until I retire.
Awesome.
Wow. Very, very good.
For you.
Thank you very much for your service.
Counting the days.
Yeah. So, April, your family is from the Carolinas?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sir, I'm
not,
I am not, sir. I'm just Jason.
Ma'am down there.
Whereabouts again? You said a little west of Asheville, you said?
So I'm directionally challenged also. It's just right outside of Asheville.
Okay.
Not a navigator near.
No, that was a medic. But it's just a little town right outside of Asheville.
That was, I think, one of the worst hit places, right? I mean,
Asheville
it looks
is
terrible.
what I think it's because of the infrastructure and the amount of people that have moved to the area. It was hit really bad. But those little communities out, like up in the mountains, is really, it's near and dear to my heart.
Chimney Rock, Bat Cave, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's all in that general area, right?
Yeah, Marshall, Mars Hill, all the way up into Tennessee and Virginia. Like, I didn't even know. Like, I've been watching the news and stuff, but even parts of Virginia were hit pretty bad and devastated as well. So it's, gone well beyond what anybody thought it would.
Yeah, because I think that the media really is focusing on what seems to be the North Carolina area.
The Asheville area.
I don't think we realize that South Carolina also got hit, Georgia got hit, Florida got hit, and as well as you said, I didn't realize Tennessee and Virginia as well. But wow, that's a huge swath of real estate that was just devastated.
And a lot of those people back in the mountains, like, it's really hard to get there anyway, just on roads. A lot of them are dirt roads and little man-made bridges, going to their family homes, and like entire families live in we call it a holler. Up in the holler, they live up there, and they haven't been able to get access to them because the roads have been washed out. The mountains, like mudslides, still are happening. So it's just really heartbreaking.
Yeah. It was heartbreaking for me to watch on the news. I can't imagine what it's like to have somebody that is actually over there, and that they're suffering.
Yeah, it is. I don't think the news nor the media does it justice, right, of what the devastation that went on down there. April, tell us a little bit about your community, right, and what about the size and how a tragedy like this significantly impacts it.
Right. The people in those areas, they're not very well off to begin with. A lot of homes are generational. The land and the homes on it. I know my home that I grew up in is over 120 years old. Wow. Still standing.
Oh, thank God.
And it's been passed down generations, and a lot of those homes are like that. In the last 10 to 20 years, you have an influx of people moving in with more money and stuff like that. But
It's happening up here too.
the poor people, they're not getting any richer. They just keep getting poor and they have to sell off and stuff. So what they have literally has been gone, like washed away. Everything they've worked hard for all their lives is just gone in a matter of one night. And
It not out of all the disasters, I think flooding is the one I fear the most because everything gets washed away. At least if there's fire, you still have your land, your car, your shed or whatever, and you can always rummage through the debris and find something, a token to remind you. But floods, everything's washed away and it's just destroyed. And
I've seen people say, "Oh, why didn't they leave? Why didn't they get out?" Well, there was a lot of reasons. Number one, the electricity went out, so even though they did get
May not be
some
notified.
people got the notification flash flood. That happens. It's happened. There's flooding in the area, but nothing to this magnitude. Also,
I mean, we were seeing 40 to 50 feet.
Yeah,
in
so
some
I do
areas,
have
right?
Some facts that I brought with me.
Let's get them out there.
Yeah, like while she goes through those, going through some of those mountain passes in the areas, there is no cell phone service. So while there may be a notification that went out, it may not
3
have
days
hit
later.
That area.
when the service came back on or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, to your
Terrible.
point of the evacuation thing, like you said, I know that when we were evacuated here in Waterford, I didn't leave my house. I refused to answer the door when the cops came knocking because it was my home.
Right.
I didn't want to leave my home. So I can understand people not wanting to leave. That's all you have.
And a lot of people there, they're leery
Yeah.
of outside help. Neighbors, fine. Anybody else?
Well, it's a
from
strong
other
it's a strong
places.
community, right?
Yeah.
And everybody knows everybody and they
Right.
stick together. And we're seeing that here, play out because the help, community helping the community.
And
Very
that's who it
important.
really is. Talking to my friends and my mom and my dad, the people that are stepping up.
Before we go any further, I'm sorry to interrupt. I want to make is your family okay?
Yes.
Are they all okay?
They're-
Everybody's safe?
Yes.
Everybody's got a place?
Yes.
All right, good.
So.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It was something I wanted to ask
Okay.
long before we got going, but because it was an important thought for me.
Yeah,
I'm
but the
sorry-
people
sorry to-
helping, even in going into Asheville, it's neighbors, people helping each other. When they have the volunteers coming in, they're saying, "Hey, what do you need? What do you need?" They're like, "No, give it to neighbor. They need it more than we do." But the churches, are stepping up. They're doing donation drives. They're feeding people, giving people hot meals, giving people water.
I love it.
But I just did want to give you a little bit of so the elevation when the storm came in, it had to go up and over the mountains, and the force of that, it went up to Mount Mitchell, which is the highest peak, and it's 6,684 feet. Asheville is at 2134. And then down at the bottom, even further, is Lake Lure. So all that pressure went up. It created more water, which it had already been raining for 3 days before that. So it was already 4 inches above what they were normal.
It really was
So a lot of
perfect- It really
saturation.
was a perfect storm.
Yeah,
for them,
so
unfortunately.
then all that pressure just built and it just went down and went down farther with all that force, and there's nowhere for it to go. It's essentially a bowl. There's nowhere for it to escape to except for the rivers. So maybe people in New York could understand a little bit. 40 trillion gallons of water is what came down.
40 trillion.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that's equivalent to 619 days of constant water flow over Niagara Falls. And that drops 750,000 gallons of water every second. So that's 619 days of continuous water. That's how much came down, in a matter of 2 days.
Hard to fathom.
It is impossible to fathom. My gosh.
I mean, Phil, we haven't seen any of that stuff around here remotely, even with Irene and Lee, right? I mean, you were on the county board of supervisors, had to, really act when that storm came through here. There was a lot of communities within our county that were affected, but none to this extent, right?
Oh, no. I mean, we had flooding in various areas of town that we had never seen before, at least in our lifetime. So yeah, it was about the worst that it gets here, but yeah, certainly nothing that even approaches what they're experiencing in places like Western North Carolina.
Absolutely insane, right?
Like you mentioned, how like you had flooding in areas that have never seen it. Imagine living on the side of a mountain.
The last thing you would expect for it to
Yeah.
flood.
Yeah.
And like you don't have flood insurance, you don't have
They-
stuff like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, the little creek that runs through your yard
Is a
now
river.
has washed away your cars, your shed, and is coming up to your doorstep. So like there's video after video after video of these houses up in the mountains showing that.
Well, there was
seen
one.
it,
There was
yeah.
one in particular where this family was on their porch and they were filming this stream of water coming through their yard, and all of a sudden, can you hear that? Oh my God, can you hear that? And this wall of water just came and washed all their property and
Couldn't believe it.
belongings away. Thankfully, they were okay in their home. But Jesus, Murphy, that must have been scary.
Yeah.
I can't. Couldn't imagine that. In my wildest dream, would I have imagined something like that?
So you all been boots on the ground?
We have not yet, because still being active duty, have to request leave and stuff
Okay.
like that. Pretty much after we started getting visuals from our friends and stuff like that, and people that I know personally that are on the ground, we start seeing some of the stuff coming out. And then I was sitting on the couch, and April turned to me, and she said, "Hey, why don't you look on like Facebook and see if there's anybody collecting donations, anybody doing anything?" And there was nothing. So
At that time.
yeah, at that time, and I was sitting there, I was looking at it, and I shot my commander a text message saying, "Hey, if I submit this, will it get approved?" And he 100% yes, go for it. So it was Tuesday of last week is when we started this whole thing, and Wednesday I think I contacted the town of Clifton Park, and I just started reaching out to anybody and everybody that maybe be able to give me like a spot of land in a parking lot, and just set up a little pop-up tent, say, "Hey, this is what people on the ground are asking for. We're collecting it, and I'll drive it myself." And that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? That's all it is truly awesome. You know, here with the Two Guys and a Mic podcast, Jay and I, we talked about this, a day after it happened.
Yeah, we wanted to do something.
Let's get something rolling here. We know that the community here is strong. We know that they support not just local, but beyond, right? And they're, just because there's a line on a map doesn't mean that we can't help, right? You picked the right person, right? Phil Barrett, being the County Board of Supervisors chairman, he is able to really make things happen, and he does consistently throughout this county. We couldn't be more proud to have him, represent all of us, both, local and at the county level. And,
Thank you.
Phil, hits the home run, actually grand slam, right? I mean, tell us how this all came about with Clifton Park.
Yeah, so the Mike reached out to us, and we immediately wanted to help, and so we set up a spot on the Common. That was very well-known location for anybody in this area. Everybody knows where the Common is, so it's a perfect spot. There's parking there, so there's plenty of room. And so we started posting and marketing the opportunity a day before the first drop-off that was made available. And it was, Mike, April, and Mason down there. And the outpouring of generosity, as it always is in Clifton Park, Half Moon, and Saratoga County, was overwhelming. So quickly, people were just coming one after another as a family, dropping off items. And now we've had a few days to remind people that there's 2 more collection points coming up on this week. And I know Mike's going to talk about that. So we're hopeful that even more donations will be coming in fast and strong those 2 days. And I've offered that anything else that we can do to help, I'm glad to connect them here with you guys with the collection tomorrow. And this podcast will be another way that they can get the word out, exactly what they need and how they're doing things. Because I think when people are donating, they like to know where it's going, who's taking it.
Yeah.
It just lends a lot of
Absolutely.
credibility. And the Sharps, I've gotten to know them now, and just fantastic family. This is a labor of love. The amount of work that they're investing is overwhelming. I give you an incredible amount of credit. But I can tell you that, the donations that people are giving will be going directly to people in need through the Sharps family. And I'm just glad that we met and were able to assist them in a small way. But hopefully we'll have more collection points at the Common. So stay tuned to the Clifton Park Facebook page and other ways that we get our word out.
We might have to do a live on location.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
The 10th and the 11th is our next collection from 3 to 7 p.m. It's going to be a drive-through. So I've had people from the community reach out and say, hey, can I bring my nieces are in town for the week and we want to help. The gym I go to, Fitness Artist over on Route 9 and Half Moon, they were like one of the first collection points. I just was in there that morning and I asked them and they're like, absolutely, throw the box here. As long as we're here, we'll take donations. And it just kind of evolved from there.
No, it's great. This is wonderful stuff, right? Because we see the images, right? And
We're all Americans.
We're all American.
Yeah, we're all Americans. We're here to support each other, and anything that we can do in a small way. If everybody donates a little bit and helps out in a little way, that all adds up to a great deal of assistance to people that are suffering. And I know this is obviously difficult situation with their family, a lot of their family being right in that area. So I know it's very difficult for them, but I'm sure staying busy and doing this and knowing you're helping I'm sure goes a long way, and maybe taking your mind off some of it at least and just focusing on helping, and that I'm sure that means a lot to you. It has to.
So
I feel kind of helpless being so far away from family, and I thank God for Mike, because I told him, I feel helpless. There's not a lot we can do up here, but just seeing the devastation in people's eyes, and those are my people, and he jumped right up and was already making plans, and I'm like, we gotta slow it down. Let's make sure we have lists and things are, planned out accordingly. And, not many people would take on that role, because he has me that's from the area, and that's it. So
that's why you're a team.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
For me, it was, I watched Faulkner Focus. I don't know if you guys watched that or not, but it's on Fox News, obviously. And she was going through and showing the devastation of things, and also interviewed certain people. And there was a young kid, and he was on the verge of breaking down. He goes, they just got here too late. There's just nobody here. The government's not for the people. It's us. It's us. We're alone here. And it wasn't a political thing, obviously, but it was just emphasizing their remoteness and their inability to get things anywhere. And
I mean, how do you prepare for something like that?
So
right?
to me, it was I got to do something. That's why we did it. It's, and I don't have anybody there.
Yeah.
And that guy just reached. It's like he reached into me and said, "Help me." Yeah. And really, it's where it went from there.
I just want to say I'm thankful for this wasn't our first choice of places to come, but we're here, and I'm just thankful for the community, in Clifton Park and surrounding areas that have donated so far. It touches my heart.
Well, you've picked the best county in the state. So.
Hands down.
Talked to my mom, and she's bawling on the phone. She just couldn't believe, people this far north cared about, country people.
Yeah.
Well, us Yankees,
so,
we
Yeah.
Well, funny enough,
that word might have been thrown around a little bit.
damn Yankees.
Yeah.
One of the things that actually we asked people to do on there when they donate water is to act with with a Sharpie, put a small note on and there's actually some of the bottles that says, Carolina Strong, we're thinking about you from New York, and prayers from the Thompson family or whatever. People have written stuff, so it was kind of cool. So when they get that case of water, it's not just a case of water. There's a word of hope on there. I think sometimes that means a lot to people. It's sometimes just I'd love to go down there and hug everybody and say, I'm thinking about you type of thing, but obviously you can't. But so what is it exactly that they really need down there? What is it they're looking for? What is it we're trying to accomplish tomorrow? And on my end, anyways, you tell me. I'm kind of relinquish that ball to you.
Yeah. It honestly, the needs requests have been evolving.
Yes.
Initially, it was, hey, we need food, we need medical supplies. That's about it. Like, get that to us now.
And water.
Unfortunately, we're kind of limited just due to the sheer weight of moving water. It's a little tough. But with now that they're starting to get a holistic picture of what's going on there, some of the things is winter clothes. Winter's coming.
Winter's coming
quick.
up there.
And so they're putting a word out, hey, any winter clothes, you can donate those. Please be clean or new. That's one of the big things. And if anybody knows about winter clothes, it's upstate New York.
Yeah.
So food, non-perishable food, not in glass. And the other thing is with a pop top.
Pop top. That's what I said. That
was a huge thing that was people were handing it out.
They can't open it.
Like, we got plenty of can
we
openers.
need a can opener. So I put that on the list. Hey, can openers.
Military can openers, right?
Yeah, try teaching
P45s.
Yep.
Is that what it is? P45s? Is that what it is?
We haven't used those in.
But do you know what? I know what it is. Do you know why they were called that?
No.
Because it took 45 hooks to open a can. There you go.
I was with the infantry. I'm a medic myself, but they just smash them with rocks.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Quickest way to open it.
Diapers, so both adult and child, and medications, EpiPens, Benadryl.
Somebody did ask me that, and I actually shied away from it because it was somebody's medication, and I'm like, I don't know if we can take that. I'd say
So yes, we can take it. They're asking for it. It's one of those things like if you are going to give that, set it aside and like hand it to us directly. And what I'll do is I'm prepping. The medical supplies are getting set off to the side, and they're going to a designated medical people, so they're going to know exactly what to do with it. Benadryl.
Children's medications too, because the dosage is different. They're saying right now, because of the flooding, all the yellow jackets, they're just swarming.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we saw that,
and it's really bad. So Benadryl, and for children, also like children's dosages for Tylenol, Motrin, Benadryl, things like that.
Yeah. And I know one thing that you hit on was like where the help was. There's a couple groups I definitely want to highlight here. Aerial Recovery Group. They were actually one of the first on ground. So between them and the Florida State Guard, so not the National Guard, it's the Florida State. It's a bunch of actual former
guard
military and stuff like that. They were up with civilian helicopters as soon as the rains were out.
As soon as they could.
They were up there. National Coatings, they kind of started the like supply points and the refueled and refit points for these groups going out. And that's kind of who I've been in contact with, and making sure that the supplies that are bringing in, that's who it's going to. Unfortunately, National Coatings and Aerial Recovery kind of had to pull back a little bit, just with what's going on in Florida. Mm-hmm. So they're standing by. Another group has come in to take over the supply chain.
Actually, to that point, I have a family member who works for a huge private lineman company, and they had a crew of 800 pull out of the Carolinas to head back down to Florida because that was their original destination. But DeSantis said, "Well, we don't need as much as we need. Send them up north." But now with what's
Now they
happening,
need 'em again.
they're pulling back. Because that's their original contract.
Yeah, line crews are coming from California,
yeah.
Oregon.
It's just tough. I mean, the
Storm work.
system's being stretched.
Yeah.
I think to its breaking point, really.
Yeah. But like all the supplies, it's going to those groups that are going to get it up into the mountains.
Okay.
And get it into those little villages up in the haulers, like to make sure that it's getting to who needs it, and it's not just going to stay in some big supply point. They
Yeah.
are actively pushing stuff as far forward as possible.
And that's great to hear because we're hearing so many other stories of stuff just not getting distributed, right? So, we want to make sure it gets out to the people, right? Because it's from the people and it needs to go to the people.
Right.
And you mentioned to me yesterday, Mike, first aid kits.
Yes.
That's something that is important for the people that are doing the clearing and getting in there, getting dirty and doing the work. And obviously injuries occur. So I know that if you want to mention that.
Yeah. They are sending essentially chainsaw teams up into some of these mountain roads, getting them cleared. I mean, I'm seeing pictures where they're pushing a flatbed from an 18-wheeler to cross a river just because the bridge was washed away. So it's these teams that are up there with the chainsaws, with the side-by-sides and the four-wheelers, clearing all these logs and trees. And they're the ones stirring up all the hornets' nests and the yellow jackets. And
They're getting stung.
yeah. And so we are gathering medical supplies as well. And that's what I meant by I'm going to set those aside and I'm going to hand those off directly so that way it can get to those teams and to those villages.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal. Wow.
It's a lot to process, really. You don't realize everything that goes to such a disaster of that enormity.
You can't put your hands around it, right? Even seeing all the videos, you see, how does that even? It doesn't even do it justice. I can't
Not when
imagine.
you're living it.
No.
You're actually living it. It's
gotta
a
be-
reality that's
Wow.
hard to fathom.
Wow, huh? I mean, to take a person's life and completely uproot it within seconds. I mean, that's what it was. Some of these washouts and stuff were seconds. I can't.
Jason, you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing here tomorrow? And obviously, Mike is in April. Very much want to thank you for
Thanks.
the donations that are happening here at your business.
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm actually going live, and we're gonna podcast almost like a podcast-a-thon, where I'm gonna be out there. I think Jeremy's gonna come down for a while, and Phil, if you want to come down for a while, I'm gonna guest host, and basically we've got people coming in, and they're donating exactly what you asked for. Water, blankets was an emphasis of mine, clothing. We have food, candy for kids. That was something I was big on, because, although this is the adults are doing all this, there are a lot of kids that their lives are
hurting
on
too.
hold, So, sometimes a pack of Skittles goes a long way for a kid. Yeah. So candy, I think it was cool. We had somebody came in today and donated a couple of space heaters, which was awesome. One thing I did have a question. Obviously, I own a recycling company, and we get a lot of butane, naphtha, and what's the other gas?
The MAP gas.
The MAP gas tanks. Now, I did hear on the news that that's one of the things they're in short supply down there. Now, I don't mind transporting myself. I could give a crap. But will they take that?
That I don't know.
So if we can find out, I'm not talking like a tractor trailer load, but I can get a couple hundred of those bottles. They're used bottles, but they're full. We get them all the time, and we've just been putting them aside. Or even 1 pound propane tanks, we get them all the time. They come in from transfer stations and recycling yards, and we recycle them. We pull the propane out of them and then crush them. But they're full. And we can box them up, and we can bring those down with us, and they can put them to good use we don't mind donating that. So if you could look into that one, that was a big one for us that we were wondering what we could do. And we also had a customer reach out to us and wanted to donate 15 30-pound propane bottles. I know, again, propane's on short supply.
Yeah.
So I don't mind transporting, which I plan on doing that anyways. Is that something that we can find a destination for that?
So the camping propane, like the little bottles. you
Coleman
get-
Yeah.
deals.
Yeah, those ones, we can take those. So absolutely, I can transport those. That's fine.
Yeah.
The bigger ones, I will absolutely get you a point of contact.
You aren't touching those, sorry.
Yeah,
They're in a cage. We have,
Yeah,
we have
no,
cages
good.
for them. So
yeah,
we
and I
transport
can
them all the time.
I can make sure, and I'll get you a point of contact exactly where you can drop those off.
Yeah, good.
Keep in mind that, like, I've been going through it the past couple days with them. Like, all right, where are we looking at today? And it was like, oh, we're going to Rutherford County Airport. And then today it's like, nope, we're going here.
Yeah.
Nope, we're going.
It's
So
fluid.
It is.
Yeah, we get that. But I just want to make sure that if,
Yep.
if we put it together, bring it down, it's not, oh, we can't take that. So,
Yeah.
or somebody makes a donation thinking that we can, bring it down there for do something good, and oh no, we can't take that. So I got to bring
Yeah.
it back and tell the person, hey, I'm glad you made the donation, but come and get your stuff. Obviously, it wouldn't be the case, but
yeah, I'll reach out to them and I'll definitely get a hold.
yeah, I want before that, something like that.
Great.
So, anyways, we've been very lucky. People have given cash donations, and we've used the money to go buy stuff already at Walmart, and Walmart's been very good, very very accommodating with stuff. And Colony Hardware, actually, for you to know that, Mike at Colony Hardware said for every pallet of water we buy, they will donate a pallet of water. So that was really cool. We actually picked up two pallets today that we're bringing down with us. So if if there is a need for water, Colony Hardware in Colony is willing to do that.
Awesome.
I can coordinate that with you if you'd like. So the community is really pulling together to help everybody down there. Like you said, we're all Americans, and we need to work together. But yeah, that's our event tomorrow. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing everybody out there.
If you guys want to come by tomorrow and jump on the podcast and chit chat, you're more than welcome to. If you want our producer up there to come and give us a hand there, look at him. He's like, yeah, I'll do that.
But I want to take a minute just to recognize you all, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you probably have some sleepless nights, right, with knowing that you have family and friends down there, and to your point, you said the helplessness, right? But the help is here.
Right.
It's above the Mason-Dixon. Specifically, here in Saratoga County and the Clifton Park Half Moon area, right? And we can't be more proud to help you all, and we hope that we pray for swift recovery down there, and to get back to somewhat of a sense of normalcy. We know it's going to take years, right?
Yes.
The infrastructure has been decimated, but we know one thing, that Appalachia and the Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, those folks are strong.
Resilient.
That was actually something I had said. I was watching the TV coverage, and I was like, Jesus, these are the people that we're going to rely on when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And they're hurting right now, so it's really bad.
And he actually said it right too.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you guys for coming on. I'd like to follow through maybe tomorrow or Friday or Thursday and let you know how we made out, and maybe have you come back on and discuss how your events are going, and maybe like what Jeremy said, do a live podcast at one of your events, and really collaborate. I think the more people know, the more people realize how much people are hurting, and it's all about
important.
It's all about community.
Community first, right? And if you're not, you got to give back, and especially now's the time. People are in desperate need. It's not a need or a want. It's desperation. They're in desperate need, and we can't thank you guys enough for spearheading it. And obviously the support from Supervisor Barrett, and his group, not only in Clifton Park, but the county as well. I mean, I get an opportunity to work with Phil, firsthand, so I know what he's capable of, and what he can do, and when he says he's going to do it, it's done. It's a done deal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So,
well, thank you. And it's
guy.
nice. It's nice to have an outlet, because there's so many people watching this and they feel helpless, and they want to help. They just need an outlet to do it. The Sharps have offered that, which is a gift to all of us, as I see it. So in our little town of 38,000 people, you know, being military folks, you move around quite a bit. Been here a few years, and we just want you to know that you're part of our family, and anything we can do to help, we're going to do it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Because, like I said, we're all Americans. And is there anything else that of importance that you'd like to get out today, as far as, you know, specific information about any of your events or any items
Where
that,
can they
that
get in
we
touch
should?
with you guys via Facebook,
yeah.
maybe? Sorry, Phil. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I can
my brain
hook you
was-
guys up. Yeah, that's fine.
So something I do want to say is like the other businesses around the town that have definitely stepped forward to provide drop-off points. So Fisher Ferry General Store, Louise down there was able to say, hey, you can set up boxes here, you can drop off. Fitness Artist, Hot Yoga Spot, Pet Supplies Plus, the Ballston Area Community Center for those heading up towards Saratoga, the Vet to Vet Center in Ulster County down in Saugerties. They're also a drop-off location, as well as down in Port Jervis is New Century Festivals. All that can actually be found if you look up Unknown Entity Coffee. That is that's my business that we're actually kind of sponsoring this whole thing. And we have it up on our website about drop-off locations and all that. Actually, the business is located in Tampa, so they're currently packing everything up. My business partner's on his way up here right now, and we're still going to do this and just kind of sit back and wait and evaluate what happens after this. But definitely, thank you guys. Thank you, Phil. And
Anytime.
thank you, April.
Thank you for the platform to be able to reach everybody that doesn't know about what's going on.
Well, I you know, and I know Jay will support this effort. Is we would like to have updates from y'all, and
Absolutely.
you know, we're working on getting the ability to either you know, FaceTime, if you will, or Zoom in, call. So you know, we know that this isn't going to end next week, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is a long duration event. You know, we want to make sure that it doesn't get lost, because so often we find, you know, we'll run stories all the time. Jay and I will, or, you know, and other folks here, Mike, who's on Two Guys and a Mic as well.
Yeah.
You know, we'll run stories, and we find that it just it disappears, right? And you know, we're quick to forget because of this, right? So we want to make sure that this is not forgotten, that we continue to support the needs of the folks who desperately need it. So
All right.
that's it.
We'll stay on it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
do it.
Stay on
I
it.
appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, I had an
Thank you.
appointment. I have an appointment,
We
so I
were
was
great.
like, oh god.
We were free. Had a country
thanks for coming
that
in.
couldn't be beat.
And you'll be able to get this up
We were right.
Yeah, I'm gonna-
tonight.